Rachel Wilson was the heiress to Wilson Innovations, daughter of billionaire CEO Alexander Wilson. She disguised her true identity, all to make sure Matt Parker, the man she loved, would never feel overshadowed by her wealth or name. But as soon as he got a job offer from Wilson Innovations, he dumped her for Jessica, someone who works at Wilson Innovations. Now she stood in Elysium restaurant. Matt lounged in his new fancy blazer, arm around Jessica Winter's waist. His Rolex glinted, purchased to celebrate his job offer at Wilson Innovations. Jessica's Louboutins tapped the floor, diamond earrings catching light. Wilson Innovations had rented the entire space for a celebration dinner. Their new Project Meridian launch had doubled company stock in just 1 week. "Seriously, Rachel," Matt said loudly, "did you think someone like me would stay with someone like you?" Jessica laughed sharply. Matt needs someone on his level now, someone who can help his career. She gestured dismissively. "What can you offer? You're invisible." Rachel stood calm despite the coffee stains. "I got him the interview at Wilson." Matt stood abruptly, knocking over his coffee cup. The dark liquid splashed across Rachel's sweater, soaking through to her skin. Matt scoffed. "Jessica got me in. She's Senior VP of Marketing. You're just—" He gestured at her clothing. "This." Jessica laughed. "Better run home and change." "Oh, wait, I forgot. That's probably your only decent sweater." Rachel wiped ineffectually at the spreading stain. Around them, colleagues from every department watched the drama unfold. "You know," Jessica continued loudly, "I never understood why Matt was with someone so basic. Now that he's joining the executive team, he needs someone who reflects his new status." Matt smirked. "Jessica's the one who got me my promotion. Unlike some people, she understands appearances matter at Wilson." "I got you that interview," Rachel said quietly. "Please," Matt scoffed. "What connections could you possibly have? You're nobody." The entire restaurant erupted in laughter. Department heads, developers and marketing teams, people who'd built their careers at Wilson Innovations, all joined in the humiliation. "Who let her in?" called out David, director of engineering. "Security breach," joked Melissa Adams from product development. Tom Richards, chief financial officer, raised his glass in mock toast. To Matt's upgrade from economy to first class, Jessica stood, playing to the crowd. "Everyone, meet Matt's ex. She thinks wearing target clearance to a Wilson event is appropriate." Rachel stood perfectly still as the laughter washed over her. Colleagues she'd never met felt comfortable mocking her. The company her father built had become a pit of wolves, and she was the prey. Slowly she raised her chin and looked around, the room at each laughing face. "Remember this moment," she said, voice clear and carrying over the laughter. "Every single one of you laughing right now. Remember how funny you thought this was." Jessica rolled her eyes. "Is that supposed to be threatening?" "It's a warning," Rachel replied calmly. "You will all regret this, especially you two." She focused on Matt and Jessica. "You have no idea what you've just done." Matt's laughter faltered slightly. "What exactly are we going to regret? Dating up? Getting promoted at the most successful tech company in the country?" Rachel pulled out her phone, still standing at their table. "You'll see." "Dad?" Rachel spoke into her phone, never breaking eye contact with Matt. "I'm at Elysium. The company celebration." She paused. "Yes, the Project Meridian launch. There's something you should see." Jessica's smug smile began to fade. "Who are—" "You calling?" Rachel ended the call and placed her phone on the table. "My father." "Oh no, Daddy's going to come yell at us?" Matt mocked, though uncertainty crept into his voice. "What's he going to do, complain to HR?" "No," Rachel said quietly. He is HR, and finance, and everything else. Matt's smile vanished. Completely. What are you talking about? Wilson Innovations. My last name isn't Bennett, Matt. It's Wilson. For a moment, silence hung at the table. Then Jessica burst into laughter. Wilson, as in Alexander Wilson? She wiped tears from her eyes. That's your big play? Pretending to be the boss's daughter? The laughter spread outward. David from engineering doubled over. Nice try, sweater girl. Hilarious, called out Melissa Adams. Next she'll say she invented the iPhone. Tom Richards raised his glass again. To Rachel Wilson, or is it Rachel Gates, maybe Rachel Musk? The entire restaurant roared with renewed laughter, even louder than before. Someone slow clapped from the back. Matt recovered his composure, smirking. You're really pathetic, you know that. Can't handle being dumped, so you invent some fantasy. Alexander Wilson is my father, Rachel repeated firmly, and I disguised my true identity because I loved you so much that I didn't want to intimidate you with my wealth. I was there in your lowest moments, cheering you up when you failed your midterms, helping you study until 3 a.m., bringing you soup when you were sick and couldn't afford a doctor. Her voice grew stronger as she continued, unflinching despite the mocking laughter around her. I lived in that small apartment and wore these simple clothes because I wanted someone who would love me for who I am, not for my father's money. I never once complained when you couldn't afford nice restaurants or when we took the bus instead of calling a car. Rachel looked directly into Matt's eyes. I am glad I didn't tell you who I really am because now I see who you really are. A man so shallow that the moment a better opportunity came along, you threw away 2 years like they meant nothing. For a brief second, uncertainty flickered across Matt's face before he masked it with another cruel laugh. Nice speech. Very dramatic. Should we applaud now? He looked around at his colleagues. She always was good at making up stories. Jessica reached for her wineglass, a cruel smile playing on her lips. I think our little storyteller needs a costume change to go with her. Fantasy. With deliberate slowness, she stood and poured her full glass of red wine over Rachel's head. The crimson liquid cascaded down Rachel's hair, staining her sweater even further, dripping onto her jeans. The room erupted in gasps, followed by renewed laughter. Several executives pulled out their phones to capture the moment. Perfect, someone shouted. Now she looks like a real mess. Rachel stood perfectly still, wine dripping from her chin, her eyes never leaving Matt's face. She didn't flinch, didn't try to wipe it away. The dignity in her stillness was unsettling, but the laughter continued. Matt raised his own glass in mock toast. To Rachel Wilson, the imaginary heiress. The room clinked glasses, the celebration of her humiliation reaching its peak just as the restaurant's main doors opened. The restaurant's main doors opened. Alexander Wilson entered, commanding in his tailored suit, silver hair perfectly groomed. He paused at the threshold, taking in the scene. Matt didn't notice him at first, too caught up in the moment. He stood, straightening his jacket. What's going on here? Alexander's authoritative voice cut through the laughter. Matt turned, his expression immediately shifting to professional deference when he saw the CEO. He stepped forward smoothly, positioning himself between Alexander and Rachel. Mr. Wilson, sir, we weren't expecting you tonight. He gestured dismissively toward Rachel without really looking at her. Just a small disturbance. Some random girl crashed our celebration making ridiculous claims. Security will remove her. Shortly. Jessica quickly moved to Matt's side, all charm and professionalism. Nothing to worry about, sir. We were just about to have her escorted out. Is that so? Alexander's voice was dangerously calm as he stepped around them to see the woman standing behind them, wine and coffee dripping from her clothes. His face paled. "Rachel?" The smiles froze on Matt and Jessica's faces. "Who did this to my daughter?" Alexander roared, his composed CEO demeanor shattering instantly. The room fell into shocked silence. "Your daughter?" Matt whispered, his face draining of color. Alexander strode forward, gently touching Rachel's wine-soaked hair. "Look at you," he said, voice thick with barely controlled rage. "Who poured wine on you? Who is responsible for this?" Matt's survival instinct kicked in. He stepped away from Jessica, pointing at her. "Jessica did it, sir. She poured the wine on Rachel. I had nothing to do with it." Jessica's mouth fell open in shock. "What? Matt, you were laughing. You encouraged me." She turned to Mr. Wilson, her voice trembling. It was a celebration. "Sir," she stammered, "a misunderstanding. A celebration." Alexander's eyes flashed dangerously. "You call humiliating someone a celebration?" "The only misunderstanding," Alexander interrupted, "was yours in thinking my daughter's worth was determined by her clothing." The previously amused colleagues suddenly found their plates fascinating. No one met his gaze. David, who'd made a joke earlier, slid down in his seat. Melissa Adams stared intently at her napkin. Tom Richards, the CFO who'd raised a mocking toast, looked like he might be sick. "And the coffee?" Alexander demanded, eyes burning into Matt. Matt swallowed hard. "That was an accident." "It wasn't an accident," Rachel said quietly. "He knocked it over deliberately right after he told everyone how he'd upgraded from me to Jessica." Alexander turned to Matt, his anger focused like a laser. "You know what's ironic about all this, Parker? You wouldn't even have a position at Wilson Innovations if it weren't for Rachel." Matt blinked in confusion. "What?" "Rachel recommended you for the position. She personally advocated for you with our hiring committee. She's the reason your resume wasn't tossed in the rejection pile, with hundreds of others." Matt's jaw dropped. He looked at Rachel in disbelief. "That's right," Alexander continued. "The woman you just humiliated, the woman whose clothes you mocked and whose hair is now dripping with wine. She's the one who secured your job. She believed in you when no one else did." Matt's face had gone completely ashen. "Rachel, I didn't know—" "Clearly," Alexander cut him off, "you didn't know a lot of things, including how to recognize someone of genuine worth when they were right in front of you." Alexander pulled out his phone. "Nancy, Wilson here. Effective immediately. Cancel Parker's onboarding and prepare termination papers for Jessica Winters from marketing. Also, send a notice to all our departments. We will never hire Parker or Winters again. Make that very clear." He paused. "And schedule a full review of our corporate culture initiatives. We have a serious problem to address." He ended the call as Matt and Jessica stared in horror. "You can't do that," Jessica whispered, her voice breaking. "Please, Mr. Wilson, I didn't know she was your daughter. I'm so sorry." Tears began streaming down her face as the reality of what she'd done crashed down on her. "Rachel, please," she begged, mascara running down her cheeks. "I made a terrible mistake. I never would have—" "You never would have what?" Alexander interrupted coldly. "Treated her with basic human decency if you'd known she was my daughter?" Jessica fell to her knees, sobbing openly now. "I was jealous. She's so naturally beautiful, and Matt wouldn't stop talking about how special she was. I wanted to hurt her. I'm so sorry." Matt stepped forward, his own eyes wet with tears. "Mr. Wilson, please. I love Rachel. I've always loved her." "No, you don't," Rachel said quietly. "I do," Matt insisted, dropping to his knees beside Jessica. "Rachel, everything we had was real. I was stupid and shallow and blind. When I got the job offer, I thought I needed to date someone who looked the part. I made the biggest mistake of my life." Tears streamed down his face as he reached for Rachel's hand. She pulled away. "I'll do anything," he sobbed. "Anything to make this right. Please, Rachel, please, Mr. Wilson, I'm begging you." Alexander's expression remained unmoved. Wilson Innovations wasn't built by people who mock others for their appearance. His gaze swept the room. This company was founded on innovation and character. Tonight, I've seen precious little of either. The entire room shifted uncomfortably. Careers that had seemed secure moments ago now felt precarious. Matt collapsed further, his body shaking with sobs. "Rachel, I'm so sorry. I didn't know what I had. You were everything to me and I threw it away for nothing." "Please," Jessica wept, makeup completely ruined now. "I'll resign. Just don't blacklist me. This job is all I have." Rachel looked at them both, their tears making tracks on the same floor where her humiliation had occurred minutes earlier. Matt was still on his knees, shaking. "Rachel, please. I'll do anything to earn your forgiveness. Anything. I was a fool. The worst kind of fool." He reached for her hand again, tears falling on her shoes. 2 years together. You were always there, for me. You believed in me when no one else did, and I threw it away because I was shallow and stupid." His voice broke completely. "I love you, Rachel. I've always loved you. Please give me another chance. Please." Tom Richards, the CFO who had toasted Matt's upgrade, now approached hesitantly. "Ms. Wilson, I sincerely apologize for my behavior. It was completely unprofessional and beneath the standards of this company." David and Melissa Adams followed suit, both ashen-faced. "We're so sorry, Ms. Wilson." Alexander watched coldly as the apologies flowed, too late, from every corner of the room. Jessica remained crumpled on the floor, her designer dress crumpled. Beneath her, sobbing uncontrollably. Alexander checked his watch. "This celebration is over. I expect all department heads in my office tomorrow at 8 a.m. to discuss how we foster a culture where this could happen. Rachel, shall we?" Rachel stood, her quiet dignity a stark contrast to the desperation around her. "Please," Matt begged through tears, "don't leave like this." Alexander turned to address the room. "One final thing. I'm implementing a new company. Policy, effective immediately. Wilson Innovations will not do business with any company that hires either Matthew Parker or Jessica Winters." Jessica gasped, her sobbing intensifying. "But that's every major tech company in the country. You'll destroy our careers completely." "Actions have consequences," Alexander replied. "And for the record, all of our partners and vendors will receive an email explaining exactly why this policy is being implemented, including video footage from tonight's event." Tom Richards stepped forward. "Sir, we've invested millions in partnerships with—" "And they'll have a choice," Alexander cut him off. "Their relationship with Wilson Innovations, or hiring these two individuals. I think we all know which they'll choose." Matt collapsed completely, understanding that his career in tech was effectively over. "Rachel, please, don't let him do this. I made a terrible mistake, but this is my entire future." "You should have thought of that," Rachel said quietly, "before you decided I wasn't good enough because of my sweater." As she turned to leave with her father, Matt grabbed her arm. "Rachel, wait!" Alexander's security detail materialized beside them, removing Matt's hand firmly. "One last thing," Rachel said, her gaze sweeping across the room. "The next time you judge someone by their appearance, remember this. The woman you dismissed holds the key to your future." She walked toward the exit with her father, leaving Matt and Jessica with their ruined careers. As they reached the door, Alexander turned back to the stunned crowd. "Lunch is on Wilson Innovations today," he announced. "Consider it a valuable lesson in humility." The door closed behind them, leaving a room full of people who suddenly realized they'd laughed at the wrong person, the heiress who could have helped their careers, but who would now remember their faces as they mocked her. Coffee-stained sweater,